Hello dear students, welcome to the business studies classes. In the last session, I had discussed about the functional and divisional structure, the meaning of functional and divisional structure, then advantages and disadvantages of functional and divisional structure, that I have been explaining. Now, today we are going to cover up what are the comparison between functional and divisional structure. So, comparison between the functional and the divisional structure. The first point, that is formation. The functional structure will be formed on the basis of function, on the basis of nature of work, that is accounts department, production department, marketing department. It is on the basis of product. If the company is producing more than varieties of products, variety categories of product, this is on the basis of product manufactured by the company. Now, what is specialization? That is the functional specialization. If the particular department is very specialized in accounts field, marketing field, HRM field, it will be divided. Then it is on the basis of product. We have divided into cosmetics, we have divided into footwear, like that. Now, the responsibility, who has more responsibility? It is very difficult to fix the responsibility from where they are getting more of the cost and revenue. It is very difficult to fix the responsibility, but in the divisional it is very easy to fix the responsibility, because we are able to get it from where you are getting the revenue and the cost. The next one, it is the managerial development. That is, in the functional structure it is difficult, whereas in the divisional structure it is easier. Now, how it is? The functional manager has to report to the top management. So, whatever the work is conducted in the particular department, in the HRM department, has to be reported to the top management, whereas divisional it is very easier, because in this particular product division they can take individual actions, individual decisions. So, it does not take much time, and it is very easy for the managerial development to take autonomy as well as chance to perform the multiple function. They have the autonomy in power. And the last one, it is the cost. If it comes to the functional, it is very economical, whereas in the divisional structure it is very much costly. Why? Because functions are not duplicated. Okay, here in the functional structure, the departments are not duplicated, whereas in the division structure, the product, there are chances of duplication of product, which are unnecessary product can be made, and it becomes a costly affair. We have studied about in the disadvantages in the divisional structure. So, these are the comparison between the functional and divisional structure of an organization. Let us continue with the next concept, that is formal organization and informal organization. It is the continuation part of the organization structure. So, what is formal organization? We are going to cover what is formal organization, what are the various features of formal organization, advantages and disadvantages. So, these are the topics will be covered in the formal organization. Now, before beginning of the meaning, advantages and disadvantages, let me give a clear idea about how the formal organization performs in the company. Okay. I am giving an example of a college, how the college management performs their formal organization, how the line of authority, responsibility flows from top to bottom. So, it may be in the maybe aided college also, private college also, schools also. This is just an example. Different colleges, different organization has their own set of formal organization. For example, in a private college, usually it is the board of directors or the chairman which is having the highest authority, the top authority. And then it comes the managing director, who is looking after the college or the school. Then usually the next in charge, the authorities flows to the principal. Then under the principal there are some office staffs, vice principal, public relation officers, accounts section. There may be other section like transport section, maybe other section can be added under the principal. Then after the vice principal, the different departments HOD, that is head of the department. If I say usually 3 in the PU colleges, usually 3 head of the department, that is commerce, arts and science, each having one of the HOD. And under the commerce department, commerce lecturers will come. Under the arts department, arts lecturers will come. Then the science department, science lecturers. So under that, at the end, the communication flows to the end to the student. So this is the formal line, the formal channel or formal communication flows from the top to the bottom. This is a formal organization structure of a college. Okay. For example, if the management wants to give holiday tomorrow to the entire college, at the beginning board of director come together, have a meeting, have a discussion and takes the decision. Then it transfer it, they are going to transfer it to managing director, then it goes to principal, then the different authority, vice principal, HOD of the departments, then lecturers, and the last it goes to the students. So this is how the formal channel flows according to the rules and regulations. So one decision, it goes according. For example, if a science students want to take a 1-day leave, he asks the lecturer in charge of the science. Then after that, if the class it might be the class lecturer, class guide, they have to inform the class guide, then class guide inform to the department HOD, then department HOD there itself he can grant the permission for 1-day leave. So otherwise he can take go up to the order, that is to the vice principal and the principal. So it flows accordingly. So that is what formal organization. This is just a chart showing a formal organization. Let us go with the meaning or the definition of formal organization. According to Lewis Allen, the formal organization is a well-defined jobs, each bearing definite measure of authority, responsibility and accountability. You can in this particular chart, it is clear that how the well-defined jobs, it is well-defined, clear-cut information is given, who has the right, who has the authority, who has the power and who has the responsibility, and their responsibility and accountability. For example, if the management tell principal that this year we need 100% result. Now the power authority goes to principal. At the end of the year, how the performance, then it will be evaluated. Okay, how the performance come out of the college. So principal and HODs and all the staffs are responsible for the outcome. Okay. So this is what the definition given by Lewis Allen. It is each bearing the definite measure. So here each one they knows what kind of performance they have to do and what is their rights, what is their power, what is their responsibility and whom is accountability. So this is what the definition. Let us go further. Now what are the various features of formal organization? The first one, it specifies the relationship among various jobs. So relationship here, who under MD, the principal, under the principal, vice principal, the office staff, PRO, then the HODs, then the principal. So it specified the clear information under whom they are working, it is clearly mentioned they should not go above that. According to that, they have to work. Then it is a means to achieve the objective. So, by drafting the structure in the organization, it is clear that what objective the company, the organization wants to achieve, and what your return to the company, and whom you have to report to whom. So, that is what it is clearly mentions. Efforts of various departments are coordinated and interlinked. So, efforts of various departments should be coordinated by the vice principal and the principal. All they have to work together to the success of an organization. If the college tells you that you take 100% result, all they have to work together, because whole college has to get the 100%, not the science department, not the commerce, not the arts, but entire college has to get the 100%. So, that is what efforts of various departments has to be interlinked and coordinated by the principal. Then deliberate function, it is the automatic function, and it is created by the top management, that is the board of director or chairman. Deliberate, everyone has to follow what the top management says. So, it created by the top management. So, everything goes according to the top management, what they draft, according to that everyone has to follow. And the last one, it emphasizes on only on work. The people are coming here, only you concentrate only on work. There is no social relationship. Whereas, informal organization, there is a chances of social relationship, that is called as informal organization. But here only work, work, work. The objective set by the organization, you come here, work and go. There is no personal relationship in the organization. There is no personal relationship. There should not be any personal relation with the student. No, there is only work. So, that is what formal organization. So, this not only I am telling about the college, many of the companies has their own line of authority, line of communication, and a formal organization. So, these are the features of formal organization. Let us go with the advantages and disadvantages. If the formal organization appears in the company, what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages? It is easy to fix the responsibility, very easy, give them the responsibility. It is very easy to fix what board of directors tells that give us 100% result, and principal will transfer this information to all of the departments. So, very easy to fix the responsibility and transfer the authority power to the lower level, from the superior to the subordinate. Next, no ambiguity, no confusion. There will not be any confusion with anyone. They know whom they have to report and from whom they have to take the orders. So, it is very clear. For example, now a science student wants a leave, okay? He directly go and talk with the science lecturer or the class guide, and he will ask the permission. So, clear, it is clear. Whereas, if there is no clear cut information is drafted, he start roaming from where we have to take. Principal say you go to go and contact science lecturer will say go to commerce lecture. So, if like that case, there will be a confusion, the confusion will be created if there is no formal channel of authority. The third point, it leads to effective accomplishment of goals. So, the goal is set by the organization, which is transferred to each individual in the organization, including the principal, including the HOD. Each one has to obey the rules which has been set by the organization. So, where they can achieve the objectives. Then unity of command. Unity of command is followed in this particular formula, because one person is directing, giving the information, giving the order, and everyone has to follow that. Tomorrow is given holiday, has to be transferred to the from top to the lower. So, all will be given holiday. No confusion from whom they are getting the order, they has to listen that particular order, they have to obey that. So, unity of command is followed in the formal organization. The fifth point is stability to organization. The organization is very much stabilized, very much controlled, because fixing the responsibility to each one, and each bears what the authorities they have, what are the rights they have. So, each knows what is their limit. So, it is very easier, the company, the organization becomes a stabilized organization. These are the advantages of formal organization. The next one is the disadvantages of formal organization. First one is procedure delay. Say if for example, if commerce department want to conduct one quiz competition. Now, to conduct quiz competition, HOD what has to ask vice principal. If vice principal is there, it may be little smooth. Then after that he has to ask with the principal. Okay. Then he has to call with the meeting with the principal. After that, principal has to ask with the MD. Then MD they will call. If MD is available, well and good, it can be done smoothly. But if it is if he is not available, again delayed. Then at the last stage, the board of director has to give the permission for the quiz competition. That means the inter college competition. So, the procedure delay might happen in the formal organization. Next one, not much scope for the creative talent. Now, some of the employees has certain talent where this is better than that particular plans. You can use this particular plans. Some of the employees are very much creative and skilled. That skill and talent cannot be expressed, okay, in the formal channel, because it goes to according to the what line of communication. So, that is why there is a chance of scope for the creative talent in the for the employees. Then difficult to understand the human relationship. There is no human relationship, only work. Everyone come and work towards the organizational objective, and which is set by the organization as to they have to follow that, and they have to work and go. There is no social relationship, there is no much interaction between the department, there is no much gossips which is spread, only work. So, these are the disadvantages. So, now I discuss what is formal organization by showing the example with the chart, and what are the definitions, what is the definition of formal organization, the features, advantages and disadvantages. The next concept, that is informal organization. The last concept we have been discussing about formal organization. Now, we are discussing about informal organization. What do you mean by informal organization? Interaction among people at work gives rise to a network of social relationship among employees called informal organization. In the formal organization itself, okay, the interaction between the people, okay, between the employees in the organization, it is a social relationship. Okay, social relationship. How it generates? Usually in the tea break or in the lunch break, all the employees come together, gather together, they will have a lunch or they will have a tea, and they will transfer the information whatever they got in the during their working time. Okay. They speak generously, and they speak about the personal problems sometimes, or they speak about other information, religious, political, or they usually discuss the company related matters. So, that happens because when there is no official line of communication. People usually gather in during the lunch break time, tea break time or coffee break time. All the different department, they come together. Usually I am working in accounts department and one of person is working in production department. Both we come together in the lunch break and we will have a discussion with regards to the company related matter or the personal related matter. So we have the social relationship, although we are working in the same company, but it is not official. That is why it is called informal, because officially we cannot talk each other, because there is a rules, the framework within which everyone has to follow the rules and regulations. They have definite responsibility, accountability. That is what called formal, but informal is the social relationship. Anyone can talk to the any of the department. Science students in the college, science students can speak with the commerce students, or commerce students can have a chat with the science student during the break time. So this is what called informal organization. I given the example. Let us go with what are the features. Okay, what are the feature of informal organization? The organization, it originates from within the formal organization as a result of personal interaction. So of course the formal organization, it is laid down, but within the organization itself, but it is a personal interaction. I told about during the tea time, everyone will go to a cafeteria and they meet each other and they will talk each other about the company matter or about the personal issue. There is no officially transformation of information, it is unofficial. So that is why it originates from the formal channel of formal organization. Then the second point, the standard behavior evolved from the group norms rather than officially laid down rules and regulations. So the standard behavior, the official line of communications are not there because of the personal interaction. They can speak, even principals have a discussion with their lecturers during the lunch time, and they can talk with each other. So that is what, but it is not a official way. Official way, you have to go to the office cabin, principal's chamber, and you have to ask the permission from the principal to have a plan with regards to any of the activities to be done. The lecturer has to ask the permission, at the same time student also has to ask the permission. So that is formal, but informal is nothing but it is a social interaction. So there is no formal channel which is followed in the informal organization. Then the second one, it is independent channel of communication. Anyone can interact, anyone in the office. So independent, it is independent. The office people directly can contact with the student. Students have a direct contact with the principal, independent channel, and HODs can directly contact with the PRO. Okay, accounts department can contact with the account HOD. So independent channel, it is not a So at the same time, it emerges spontaneously. What do you mean by spontaneously? Automatically, it generates automatically. Usually in the first year, you will be having, you will not be having any friends. Slowly you develop with the, you will be having the contact with the other batches, commerce or science batches. Slowly you will interact one another, and after the midterm you will be having a very close contact with them. So that is what it's what generates, it emerges spontaneously, automatically it generates. Even commerce department, the lecturers have a very good friendship with the arts department, but it is not official. Okay, and the last one, it has no definite structure. So that is no, anyone can talk, anyone speak with anyone. So MD can directly contact with the commerce HOD, and students also directly contact with the board of director. That is what it is called, and that's why it is called unofficial. In the chairman also can speak with the student, but it is not an official way. It is why it is called, that's why it is called informal organization. So these are the features of informal organization. Let us discuss what are the advantages. If informal organization prevails in the company, what advantages the company is going to? Quick feedback, the faster speed of information. They get very much the one particular information can be transferred, the speed of the information, it is generates very fast. Okay, whatever the information, for example, tomorrow there is a holiday, or how immediately the information flows during the lunch break, each one will speak, lecturer will speak with the others, and commerce students will speak with the others. Automatically lecturer will have a call, and the lecturers have a contact with the students, they will transfer the information. So spontaneously it generates, and quick information, immediately feedback, the company can get it. And next one, it helps to fulfill the social needs of the members, social needs, that means the interaction. So interaction creates within the organization. If any personal information has to be transferred from one to another, there is no work. In the formal organization, it concentrates only on work, but here there is a social needs of the members. If they are financially unstable, some of the employees and other employees come together and help that particular employee. So this will happen in the informal organization, and it contributes towards the fulfillment of organizational objective. It generally contributes a fulfillment of organizational objectives. Certainly, for example, if a creative person in the formal organization not able to express his creativity ideas to the top authority, whereas when it comes to informal organization, there will not be any formal lines of communication. They meet each other, they meet with the higher level of authority, and they will express that this idea, if it is applied, it is very less costly. You can utilize this particular idea and it becomes a successful. So usually, if this idea, if it is taken by the top management in an aggressive way, and they can get it, the organizational objective can be achieved in this in the group of it is called as informal organization. So this contributes towards the fulfillment of also the organization objective. Let us go with the disadvantages of informal organization. It spreads rumors very much quickly. The rumors are spread in the break time, in the lunch break time. The rumors, the principal is going to put fine whoever not wearing ID, whoever not coming regularly. So people in the all the students come together and gather together, they will pass the information. So it spreads throughout the college that this is the principal is going to do it. So it spreads rumors very much quickly, informal organization. Any new changes not possible. For example, the principal is planning to add one more hour extra, that is 4 to 5. They are going to add one more hour, 4 to 5, evening 4 to 1 hour, 4 to 5, they are going to add it. Now during the lunch break, all the different batchmates, all they come together, they will start talking with this information, because principal is going to add one more extra. So it pressurizes the member to conform to the group expectation. Later what will happen, all these science, commerce, art students come together, they start opposing that we don't need any new changes, we are only go with 4 to 5 class, 9 to 4 class, 1 hour extra, it is not possible. So that is where the informal organization pressurize the members, and also new changes, it is not possible. So these are the features of informal organization, advantages and disadvantages. So we have covered this topic in this particular topic, that is informal organization. In the last class, we have been discussing about formal and informal organization. Now, what are the comparison between formal and informal organization? So, that topic we are going to discuss it. Now, basis formal and informal organization. The first one is the meaning. How it is created? It is created by the top management. The structure, the formal organization created by the top management, whereas informal organization, it is the social relationship between the members, the employees in the organization. Then the origin, how it generates, it is the result of the rules and regulation, formal rules and regulation, formal authority and responsibility. Each one bears each one has their own responsibility, authority and power. Okay. Whereas this is a social interaction, it generates from the social interaction. Anyone can speak with the any of the departments, it generates automatically. The third one, it is authority, how it flows, how the authority, the power flows. In the formal organization, the virtue of position, on the basis of position, it flows from the superior to the subordinate, from the management to the MD to the principal, the vice principal and the board of director, it flows. Whereas it is on the basis of personal qualities, the personal qualities of an individual, how they interact with the other employees, on that basis it flows. Then behavior, it is according to the rules and regulation, it flows according to the rules and regulations. They have to follow the rules and regulations. Each individual in the organization has to follow the rules and regulations directed by the top management, whereas there is no set of behavior pattern. That means anyone can talk with according to their behavior, they can have an interaction. Then the flow of communication, standard channel of a scalar chain. It is a hierarchy of this model, it flows accordingly. Whereas it is not planned route, any direction, it can flows to any direction. Commerce department can speak with the accounts and the principal can directly talk with the students. So, it can flow from any direction. Next one, nature, it is the formal organizations are rigid, you cannot change anything. Okay. What are the plans set by the top management, accordingly everyone has to follow. All the member in the organization has to follow. There is no flexibility of operation, whereas in the informal organization, the flexibility, whoever can can interact in the in the formal organization, they can interact to anyone. And the last one, it is leadership. Who are the leader? The managers in the different departments are the leaders, like accounts manager, they are leader. In the production manager, in the production department, the production manager is a leader. In the marketing department, marketing manager is a leader. So, it is on leadership, it will be the managers are leader in the formal organization, whereas it is chosen by the group. Okay. In the tea break time, they together interact together. If they want to oppose with the something related the issues of the company, they appoint one particular leader, and certainly it generates. Anyone can be the leader in the informal organization, but whereas formal organization, the managers, okay, in the college, the principal and the HODs are the leaders and the staffs are the leaders in the organization. So, these are the comparison between formal and informal organization. So, in this particular session we discussed about formal and informal organization.